Such a pleasure to be here this morning. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Does this sound like graduation? Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Fantastic. Let me first of all recognize all the friends and families who have come from very, very far across the world. Teachers, staff, members of the board, students, and most importantly, the class of 2024. Congratulations. It's a really special day, and I'm sure you've looked forward to this day for a very long time. I know you've achieved so much, you've come very, very far, and you've even managed to attract such a diverse and eclectic group of people here to celebrate with you today. So you must feel very proud, and you've earned that. Usually at events like this, people in my position would start by saying that you're not likely to remember anything they say. And they would say that they want to apologize for standing between you and the real celebrations. And then they'll go on to tell you some really, really deep life stories, and they'll cross their fingers that you'll remember some of them by the end of the day. My hope is that you don't remember some of what I say. I hope you remember all of what I say. But we'll find out. I think this is a time of transitions, and you are making some really, really important life transitions. After today, and for some of you, about time, people are going to start taking you very seriously. And I mean, like, really seriously. Because you're about to begin to experience the real world, as they say. And so I thought I'll share with you some thoughts about transitions, about serendipity, and about a strange and quite unlikely group of people coming together in what is a relatively small part of the world with little more than a load of ambitions, each of them carrying this set of personal dreams and undertaking personal journeys, taking on one challenge after another, and not just realizing how their lives are about to change significantly, together, forever. In the summer of 2015, two young men came together in the city of Montreal in Canada, Thomas Bragg and Matt Dahlia. Thomas was born in Paris to parents who had come from Sweden, and he decided to go to university in Canada. Matt was born in New York. He had grown up in France, in the US, in Russia, and he also chose to go to university in Canada. Thomas studied entrepreneurship. Matt studied history. Both of them went to McGill University. And so in 2015, they attended a meeting as part of a business consulting project of McGill students. And afterwards, they went to a party, as one does. And they met another young man named Amar Kandil. Amar was born in Egypt. He'd finished high school in South Africa. He also chose to go to university in Canada. He went to Quest University. And after a while, these three people met another young man named Derin Emre. Derin was born in Istanbul. He studied comparative literature. He went to New York University. And for some reason, he also chose to relocate to Canada. We have four strange and unlikely young men in the early 20s, and we can't tell if it was the booze that was talking at some point in this conversation, but they had a conversation. And one of them, Amar, said, "I would like to climb the pyramids of Egypt." Probably the booze speaking by that time. Now, because one wild idea often gives birth to other wild ideas, the group decided that they were going to take on a challenge to do 30 challenging things in 30 days. 30 things they've never done before. They called it Project 30, innovative. Each of the challenges was designed to push them a little bit beyond their comfort zones. And so the first crazy thing they did was a few days after meeting each other, they rented a one-bedroom apartment and moved in together. And after 30 days, they had done some really, really wild things. They got their ears pierced. they tried stand-up comedy in a comedy club. They got almost 2,000 people to subscribe to the YouTube channel. And they managed to get the mayor of Montreal to develop a secret handshake with them. They phoned up the government office several times until they were told to stop phoning. And then they changed the name of their group to Generation Why Not. And then something really, really wild happened for them. After a month, they got an email from Snapchat. Now, parents, don't worry about that stuff. You don't need to know what that means. Snapchat emailed them and asked them to leave Montreal in Canada and move to California to make some videos for them. I mean, they thought it was a prank, which is what you would think if Snapchat emailed you and said, hey, come make videos for us. But because their group was now called Generation Why Not, they thought, why not? And so they left Montreal and moved to California. They found a house and they began to take on new challenges, making really cool videos. Now, they didn't stop doing some really crazy, irresponsible things. They made a painting and tried to sell it to an art gallery. With no experience whatsoever in the fashion industry, they found a way to get booked as models at a fashion show. They even snuck into an abandoned military tunnel in Cuba. They found a way to get interviewed on The Daily Show. The mission began to evolve at that time. They said to themselves, our aim is to push ourselves out of our comfort zones all over the world while inspiring millennials to pursue their dreams and think about what they truly want to do with their lives. All of a sudden, they got responsible. The intro to one of the videos from September 2015 reads, the times you try things that scare you are the times you grow the most. By 2018, they had 1 million subscribers on their YouTube channel. And then they changed their name one more time. They called it Yes Theory. And Yes Theory in 2018 secured one of the biggest opportunities of their lives. In September 2018, Will Smith turned 50. And for his birthday, the founders of Yes Theory posted a video on YouTube challenging Will Smith to do something really uncomfortable. They asked him to do something that scared him the most. The challenge was not going to be an easy one. The challenge was this: Will Smith had to bungee jump over the Grand Canyon from a helicopter. What are the odds? I don't think anyone in their normal mind will say yes to that. But Will Smith did. He said yes, not just to jumping from a helicopter over the Grand Canyon. He said yes to live streaming the jump. And that was the turning point for Yes Theory. Because not only did Will Smith bungee jump out of a helicopter over the Grand Canyon for his 50th birthday, he did it while also raising money for a charitable organization, Global Citizen. And the project he was raising money for was a project called Education Cannot Wait. They were providing access to education for children in crisis-affected areas. And so in the live stream, Will Smith talked about the fact that he had lived with fear his entire life. And that jump over the Grand Canyon was not a regular jump. He mentioned that when he was younger, he drove with his family to the Grand Canyon, and he marveled at how beautiful it was. But he was so terrified of going close to the edge. His entire family walked to the edge of the Grand Canyon, but Will Smith stayed back. And from that time, he said he made it his mission in life to try to attack anything that scared him. And that's when the invitation from Yes Theory proved to be the key to unlocking the greatest fear of his life. And Yes Theory did something else. they created a new tagline for themselves. The tagline says, "Seek discomfort." 4 young men from vastly different backgrounds coming together in a very random place, deciding to seek discomfort together. And since then, they've inspired millions of people across the world by a simple act of making videos to also seek discomfort as their own pathway to experiencing real growth. And so my question to you today, what discomfort are you seeking? In my case, I've been on my own journey of seeking discomfort for a very long time. When I left home at the age of 13 to serve as an apprentice in a photography studio, far away from friends and family for 4 months, I was seeking discomfort. When I took a chance after high school, not to go straight to university, but to take a purpose year, I was seeking discomfort. When I launched my first nonprofit as an undergrad, helping to provide much-needed educational support to under-resourced public schools, I was seeking discomfort. When I left home for graduate studies in the US without enough money to pay for my tuition, let alone my living expenses, I was seeking discomfort. And then I went to South Africa, a country where I knew absolutely no one, had no connections. All I had was a carry-on. I went there because I was attracted by a vision of helping to develop a generation of leaders who would transform every sector of Africa. I did that seeking discomfort. And 3 years ago, I took the leap to join the United World Colleges with a mission that is as audacious as any I have ever encountered in my life, for a role that was bound to challenge me in many ways. I did that seeking discomfort. And so what discomfort are you willing to pursue? You see, I believe that the real transformation of our societies will happen on the other side of fear, by people seated in front of me. I believe that the change we are seeking to see in the world will only be actualized if people in this room, people like you and me, will be brave enough to ignore that voice in our heads that tells us that we are not qualified enough, that we are not smart enough, that perhaps we're not even wealthy enough, we're not educated enough, we're not connected enough. I can assure you that there has never been a greater time to lean into discomfort. The world needs you to take a chance on yourself, especially when you're afraid. Take a chance on something you cannot control. Take a chance on an opportunity even when you don't know where it might lead you. I invite you to begin to recognize those moments of obligation, the times when an idea hits your heart and you just can't let it go. Many years ago, I began to ask myself, of all the things that I could do, what will I do? And of all the things I could be, who will I be? Basically, I wondered, how could someone like me help to make the world a better place? And I'm sure you have those questions as well. You will have some moments of doubt. You would question whether or not you're doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing. Lean into discomfort. When everyone around you begins to give in to fear, my challenge to you is to maintain a healthy dose of optimism and idealism. See the world not as it is, but as you would like it to be. Be skeptical about challenges, especially the ones that look unsolvable. And when the chance comes for you to be cynical, please resist the urge to be cynical, especially about the potential for change. We don't know how life will turn out, but we can always trust in our own efforts. I don't think there are any blueprints for life. There are no clear roadmaps you must follow. But each of us finds the world that we've inherited, but we will shape the world that we live. So never question your own preparedness to make a difference. Don't be disheartened by the scale of the challenges ahead of us. It is when the world looks most bleak and bland that the true reformers will find their own inspiration to imagine and then design a better world. I think if we weren't sick, we won't need doctors, right? If our cars never break down, we won't need auto mechanics. So the world needs you to provide the solutions where they're most needed. And so as you think about your transition from a space like this, think about the education you've been privileged to have for so many years. Never forget the words that were said to you at some point, and hopefully many times throughout your UWC journey. You are needed. We still need you. We still need you to consistently lean into discomfort and avoid every invitation to give up. So wherever path you choose to follow, whatever path you follow from now, whether life takes you straight to college or on a gap year or further out into the unknown, I hope you don't forget that the values of this precious education will live much longer than the time you've spent here. I hope you will choose to pay this forward in many, many ways. I hope you'll embrace the global community that now surrounds you. More than 75,000 people have had access to the same kind of education through multiple institutions under this one mission. I hope you will lean into each other and build your support structures for one another. I hope you would always realize that you are not alone. In my closing, I'm going to ask you to just look around and look into the eyes of the people who are right next to you, your friends, your teachers, your family, your support system. I hope you will treasure them and remember that you would never have come this far without them. I hope you'll also take a moment after now to express gratitude to them, to everyone who has invested so much in helping you get to where you have arrived at today. And I hope you will think very fondly about the time you have spent here and all the lessons that you have learned. I'm sure you're going to go very, very far, and I will be rooting for you. So congratulations and enjoy the day.